Dear student, today I am going to discuss about the third units of the meaning of the comparative government and politics of the paper comparative government and politics of the MA in political science. That means in last two class I have already discussed about the introductory parts, and in the second important that was the features. Now come to the basic things, even trying to make some kind of the meanings of the comparative government and politics. What is the meanings of the comparative government and politics? So here some important slides. Come to the next important slides. That is when we talking about uh, the meanings of the comparative government and politics. Comparative politics is the comparative study of the other country, citizens, different political units, either in the whole or in parts, analyze the similarity and difference between those political units. And comparative politics also entails the political study of non-US political thoughts. Basically, comparative government politics starts from the US scholars and political scientists. Here, basic things we want to know about the meanings. What is the meanings? And meanings is basic meanings of the comparative politics, yeah, comparative governments is comparing between the two things, between the two identity, between the two issues, between the two system of the government, but not only stick to the two, maybe sometimes three, maybe sometimes at the global level. But basics gist or basic themes of the comparative government and politics is compare, either in the sense of the period, either in the sense on the basis of issue or on the basis of the system of the government. That means the comparative politics is the comparative study of either the country, citizens, different political units in the whole or in parts, and analysis the similarity and difference between those political units. And comparative politics also entail the some kind of the political study of the non-political thoughts. Second meaning of the comparative government and politics is that means ki comparative politics is a subfield of the political science. Subfield that means ki not a major subject but as a part of the political science that involve the systematic study and comparisons of political system. That means ki in the political science we study the whole the thing in the systematic manners. Whenever we study anything in the systematic manners, this is very important things, or maybe gain the some kind of the knowledge, or sometimes also the need innovative idea. And comparisons of the political system, we have the different kind of the systems, institutions, process, behaviors across the different country. And the main aim is to understand how different political system functions, how they vary from one another, and what they factor influence their developments and performance. That means ki it is very important things, especially in the comparative government and politics. And this is the sub-discipline. When we talking about the sub-discipline of a particular subject, that means ki one of the important components. And they are involved in the comparing systems of the different political institutions, process, behavior across the country. And the aim is to understand the some kind of the different uh, political systems and all the things. Now come to the meanings and comparative meaning of the comparative government and politics. And here are some of the important resources. That means ki where can we get the some kind of the data. There are some kind of the important data where can we take and we do the doing some kind of the research. One of the important resource that is called the comparative study of the electoral system. The comparative study of the electoral system is a collaborative programs of the cross-national research among elections study conduct in over the 50 states. That means ki a kind of the associations who are collecting the data, especially of the electoral system. Whenever any researchers, policy makers, any teachers who want to do research in the field of the electoral system, they can collect the data from the these institutions. And these institutions is very significant in the study of the comparative government and politics. Saying like the comparative political data set, this is also a kind of the associations that is comparative political data set. CPDS is a collection of politicals and institutional country level data provided by professors, doctors, scholars, aiming interns, and collaborations at the University of Worms. It consists of annual data for the 36 democratic country for the period of 1960 to 2014 or since after the transitions to the democracy. That means that they are also collecting the data of the different uh, system of the governments. Next, institutions that is called the Eurostates. This link open in a new window Eurostates, the statistical office of the European Unions that provide the statistics at the European levels and that enables comparisons between the country and regions. Users can work download tables and across the full metadata and documentations for the data that measure indicates across the range of socio-demography and economic indications. That means that these are the three important institutions who are providing the different kind of the data or the especially the in the field of the comparative government and politics. Another kind of the institutions that is quality of government institutions. The quality of government institutes at the University of Gothenburg study good governance and the corruptions on a global scales. Quality of governments provide a range of database available for free and data visualizations tools. Quality of governments, a standard data set contains the most qualitative variables from the standard database. The quality of governance expert survey is a data set based on our survey of experts on public administrations around the world available in the individual data sets and aggregate data set covering 107 country. The quality of governments institute also database cover the country who are the member of OECD. The European Union regional data consists of the 450 variables from the Eurostats, another source covering three levels of the European regions, country, major socio-economic regions, and basic regions for the applications of regional policy. So these are the important institutions who are providing for the different kinds of the data for the researchers in the field of the comparative government and politics. Now come to the importance things related to the meanings. That means ki they have different kind of the political institutions. This is very important political institutions. This include the study of governments, parliamentary system of governments, courts, and other key political entity to understand the how they are operates and indirect. That means ki in any country there have different kind of the institutions. Some institutions like the at the level of the top executive, legislature, judiciary. In addition to that, there is different kind of the institutions. They are involved in the deliverings and the good of services. There are also some kind of the market institutions. Sometimes we also consider the civil society institutions, their behaviors, and all the things. Another meanings of the comparative government and politics that is political behaviors. This involves analyzing the how individuals and groups engage in political process, including voting patterns, political participations, and public opinions. That means key when we're talking about the political behavior. I have already elaborate in the previous classes about the political behaviors. When we're talking about the political behavior, that means that there are two important segments. One is masses and their behaviors towards the states. That means that their active participations in electorals, their active participations in the government systems, there's some kind of the role in the decision makings or not. Same in the other parts like the states, their responsibility towards the masses. So these are the political behaviors. And this is very important meaning of the comparative government and politics. That means it always involve analyzing how individuals and groups engage in political process, including votings, patterns, political participations, and public opinions. This is very important things of the comparative government and politics. Next, that is political systems and regimes. These cover different types of the government systems, like the democracy. When we're talking about the democracy, that is a form of the popular form of the governments. Peoples rule themselves. Monarchy, a kind of the kingship, that is there is no any kind of the elections. That means ki from one generations who become the head of the states and they are ruling on the estates. Next is authoritarian system. There may be some kind of the electoral system, but there's not a kind of the democratic set of the systems. They have impact on governance and policy making. That means the political system have different kinds of the policy making approach. So this is the meanings of the comparative governments and politics. Another kind of that is the public policy. Public policy is very important segments of the comparative government and politics. Basically, when we're talking about the public policy and the public policy have different process like the formulations of the policy and this policy formulations through the we call the input output system that is given by the Darwin Eastern theory. When we're talking about the inputs, that means the people expectations they are supporting through the taxes and the outputs there is different kind of the program policy. These are the outputs. But after the formulations of the policy, these policy programs are implemented by the bureaucracy. And after the implementations, some policy are maybe short term, some policy are maybe implemented for the long terms. Those policy whose duration is more than 5 years, these are called the long-term policy. But after the implementations of the policy, some institutions, maybe third-party institutions, they are evaluating the programs. What are the major impact of the programs, policy, have any kind of the societal change or not? These are coming under the comparative government and politics. We have a study, yeah, so many scholars, so many researchers who have a study the on the poverty issue. Same country like the same like the India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, coming from the same regions. But what are the major changes in the poverty area? What are the major changes in the women empowerment? Have any kind of the positive changes? Government have adopted different kind of the policy in the Bangladesh, in India or Pakistan. But which policy have major changes in the societal impact? So in the comparative government politics, we can select the case study, we can take the regime period, we can also take the period different kind of the historical context. So these are the important kind of the meanings of the comparative government and politics. Now come to the political developments and change. When we're talking about the political development, this include examining how political system evolve over the times and factors and driving these changes such as economic development, social movement and international influences. When we're talking about the political development, that means the political institutions become more mature. Their behavior must be some kind of the impartials. These institutions not favor a particular persons or particulars kind of the institutions. So we have the some they can deliver the substantial results. So these are maybe called the some kind of the positive political developments and maybe some kind of the different changes like they suppose elections commissions they are conducting free and fair elections. Every person has some kind of the trust on the institutions. Some institutions who are conducting the examinations people have some kind of the trust. That means that these institutions have some kind of the they have a skill oriented maybe called the professional institutions, and these political development are very important for a state, and especially these kind of the study conducted by the comparative governments and the politics. Meaning of the comparative government and politics. By comparing these elements across the different countries, scholars aim to identify patterns, understand the impacts of the various factors on political outcomes, and develop theory about the how political system work and how they might be improved. That in last we can say this is very important subfield of the political science, and comparative government and politics is not only restricted within the nation state or between the two or more countries. Sometimes comparative government and politics is also involved or engaged at the global perspectives. There are so many global issues right now, like the climate change, environmental issue, terrorism, migrations, refugee, a scarcity of foods, these international transportations, some kind of the different kind of the gender discriminations, human rights violations. That means ki, in comparative government and politics, this is not only stick to the within the nations or between the nations, but in last we say can that compare at the global level, and this is very important parts of the comparative government and politics. Thank you.